This is going to be Illustrator movie, I believe, number 5. What I wanted to show on this was a multiple gradient mesh that overlaps another gradient mesh. And what happens when you do that and how you blend the two of them together. And this may not be the best example in the world, but it certainly will be one that you can see how to match up to. What I've done already is I've pre-set up this movie, which this file, which has 4 Illustrator things on it, which I'm going to do later, but I'm going to concentrate on Mario's hat right here. And Mario's hat I've already pre-drawn. In fact, this is shape number 2. If you look over to my layer palette, this is shape number 2. So pretend that shape number 2 is the entire file, where it has a template one on the bottom, which I'm turning off. It has the small color one over here to the one side, which you can see that I'm clicking on, and it says small color. And then I have already wireframed both, and I'll command click this to show you that I have already drawn the upper hat section, which is the upper layer, and the lower hat section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to manufacture a gradient mesh inside, and then I'm going to blend the 2 gradient meshes together. So I'm going to try to do it rather efficiently. If I click on the upper hat layer, you can see that I've already made a safe 1 and a safe 2, and obviously I'm going to work on the safe number 2. So what I'm going to do is take this and remove the stroke, which is the original upper hat path, and I'm going to hit the eyedropper and hold the shift key and grab the medium value. Whoops. Let me click over here to the fill and click on this to fill it up with. Now let me hold the command key down and click to the wireframe, and now what I would like to do is to draw out using the U key a line going top to bottom, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a variation line, a line that's actually going to be the soft blend right here. I want you to see how I have taken the soft blend where my icon is going, where my selection tool, or actually my icon, which would be the selection tool, and I've given myself a bleed area, a safe area. What I'm going to do is click kind of low on this, and then I'm going to hold the A key and the U key, because my toggle on the command key obviously wants to be the direct selection tool, and I'm going to put it up after I retract the handlebars exactly where it's supposed to go, fix the handlebar on the right and fix the handlebar on the left. Now I have a pretty decent gradient mesh line for that point where I'm going to need to do my transition. I'm now going to click, and if you look over here, you can see there's a little dark edge on his hat, plus there's a rim right here on the hat, and I'm going to try my best to manufacture that rim. So I'm going to click kind of high on here and then retract the handlebar, as I'm going to do. And this may not turn out perfect because I want to do this efficiently in front of the camera, and let's just see if I can make it turn out. To rebend this line in a proper way, I'm going to click right there to add that line, retract the handlebar and move this down and kind of straighten it out, and then wrap this around here like that to form this edge. Click right here at the pinnacle of that one, of that curve edge, retract the handlebars, pull this down to match up, and then change the geometry on that to match. Now that matches up pretty well to where that little rim is, and I'm going to need 2 stopping lines on both sides. This is going to be the dark aspect of it, and I'm going to need the light aspect of it on both sides, so that's going to be stopping lines. I'm going to click right over here in a few minutes, and you can see where this rim, as I'm circling, actually changes direction and works its way back up to the top left and to the top right. So what I'm going to do right now is I could actually start coloring, but I'm okay with this. I'm going to add the stopping line right here, or the change of color line, and here's the key to this. I'm going to add 2 rows of points that I'm going to use to match up to the hat. So my change of value will be soft, but I could never do this whole thing in one because basically of this over here, and maybe I could, but for this case I want to say no, I can't. I'm going to click right over here, and we're going to I'm going to click a little closer to the edge, so I command Z back. I'm going to get close to that edge, and then double click the template to see a little bit better on that image. So let me go to 60%, and now I can see where this is supposed to be here. So now that I look at that, I should probably command Z back twice, because I really want this point that I'm pointing at to be over here. So rather than moving this point, which I probably could do, I'm just going to command Z back twice. didn't need to Command Z back that much. And one more time. Okay, one Command Z back. And now let's click over here to where this hits this edge right over here. That's perfect. Now I do have to move 2 points or 3 points over, but it's going to provide for a better geometry when I actually get this thing done. So now let's move this over. Let's click this one over and see how well this is going to appear. It's going to take a few seconds to fix the geometry on this. And let me pull it way over and retract the handlebars almost completely into that corner. There. Now let's retract the handlebars completely, and then it'll take me the same amount of time to redo what I'm doing on the other side and move the point over farther here, trying to maintain consistent geometry. And then let's move this point over and this point over, and then of course my geometry is fairly decent as I move my way across here. Now I can actually bend this over a little bit and form this nice little intersection right here, which helps me make my shape. Now let's go do the same thing on the other side and see how well I can do it kind of quickly. Let's click right there. That's going to provide 4 movements. So I have to shrink the handlebar here, shrink the handlebar here. I'll move them all over at one time, see how well that's going to work. Let's just shrink all the handlebars, try to be a productive artist in this case, and then I'll be able to color, and then I can get to the heart of the matter. So this, what I'm doing here, it kind of helps to see it, but look at how I'm going to move it all over for the top one. Let's click on this one and on this one, just on that one. Actually, I'll move it over by itself, and I'll move this one over by itself. Now I can grab this one and shove it over just a little bit to the right. I'm trying to keep that consistent, and now bend this one to form that curve right there. Now let's hit Command S to save the file, and then I can start coloring and putting in stopping lines. Okay, I think what I'll do is I will put in the 2 stopping lines. First I would like to, no, I'm going to put in the 2 stopping lines here and here. A little bit closer on this one. Good. And this one should actually I'm going to Command Z back twice, because I'm going to try to put them real close to this one. I'm going to put them here and here, and that's going to make that nice transition a lot better. I may have to move these apart in a minute. So this one may have to move up, gather just a little bit more airspace in here, and then move my way to my other side. Fix a couple of things that happened in a bad nature here. Let me retract the handlebars and retract this handlebar and go up and down. Okay, I'm not trying to, again, please, I'm not trying to make this perfect. I'm trying to make it just reasonably nice. Let's move this up a little bit. Okay, go over to this side, move this one down a little bit. Easily I could fix the geometry there. Let's move this one up, and now I have decent geometry as it works its way around this side. This should move over to the left. This should move over to the left. And now let's color. Let me Command click this, which I don't care about all those going to a different excuse me, color. So what I'm going to do is click this whole thing with Command Option, hit the eyedropper, and recolor the medium value. Now let's go click where the dark is. On this side, on this side, and on this side right here. All 4 of those basically go to a dark value right there. Let's go marquee all of these on the corner here to the dark value right there. Let's go marquee all of these on the corner here and grab the dark value here. Let's move our way across here, and I'm going to marquee every point in this corner and marquee that point right there. Let's marquee every point over here and grab the value over here. Now we have a pretty decent value working its way across here. These points up here are the points that I'm going to match to when I get the hat done. That's the important thing to tell you. Now let me click the middle point there if I can, shift click the middle point there, and shift click the middle points on all of these. Go grab that very subtly dark point, which is right about there. Let's see if that actually showed all the way through. Yes, it showed rather nicely all the way through here, except that got to be a little bit too bright. So let's click this one point make it just slightly darker by grabbing this. I need that to get just a little bit darker, so I have to go find an area on Mario over here where it is getting darker. Now, this doesn't wrap its way to the edge. I'm going to have to put stopping lines on this line on both sides and on this line on both sides. But I won't do that until I'm finished, okay? So far, there is that just got a little bit too dark. Let me fix this just real quick here. That got a little bit too dark, so I'll click halfway between the two of them to lighten, Command Z back, maybe a little bit between the two of them. There. Now, what I want to do is save the file again, close off the safe number 2 so we don't have to see it. Now let's go do the hat. So the hat won't take much time at all. So let's click on the lower hat, unlock it, lock up the upper hat, go into the lower hat, and click on the path, which I have already duplicated. Let's Command click the layer, hit the U key, and we really don't have to worry about this other than the whole entire area going dark. So basically this hat isn't going to take very much. I only need to add that right here. Let's go click a little bit lower, and then all we have to do is move this up and put it probably one stopping line in here. But it's the thing I'm going to tell you next that really makes the two melt up together, meaning to match up together. But I'm not going to do the thing I want to do until I actually create something for you so you can see it, which means a successful hat. So let's click the one side and the other side, hit Command S to save the file. This will be our stopping line in the middle. These are our color points. So let's Command click this again, marquee all the points on this half, I key, Shift key, grab the color. Let's marquee all the points on this half, I key, Shift key, grab the color, and now we have Mario's hat being lighter in here. Let's now click the bottom points. So I click this bottom point right there and grab the bottom color. Now let's turn the clicky copy on and off and see exactly where that is going to match up. So I'm going to Command click this, which means I can look through it. I'm going to put a line that goes right from here to here, making sure that I match up to that same dark tone. So that line is my key line. Doesn't have enough points on it, and I'll explain that in a minute, but it is my key line. So let's go Command click on this, I key, Shift key, and grab the dark right behind that white label. There we go. That's the color that I have to match up to. So I'm probably being ridiculous, but I hit Command S to save the file again, and let me explain something to you. I'm going to turn on the upper hat so we can see it. I'm now going to show you that I purposely didn't match up I purposely didn't match that up so that I could show you the one mesh versus the other mesh. I'm going to have to lock up the mesh that I have. But let me click back to the mesh that's in front. Now pay attention to the words. Look at how many points. I'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I would like to have, and I may need to put a line this way and this way to make 8 and 9, but I would like to have a point on the other mesh near the point that I'm pointing at right now. Do you get the point? No. Let me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 points working its way from left to right. The way that meshes match other meshes is by having points of color nearby. So what I'm going to do is to lock up the upper mesh. I'm sorry, the lower mesh. I'm now going to, I said that wrong again. I'm going to lock up the upper mesh so I can't touch it. And I know that on this mesh here, I have to put more lines in there. But before I do that, I'm going to duplicate it because I know that I may damage it. So I'm going to lock it, hide it, and save the file. Now watch what I do. I take the U key. I'm going to click. Let me turn off the upper mesh just for now. I'm going to click and fill up the fill color with the color that's down here. Just so when I take the U key and add a point here, and a point here, and a point here, and a mesh line here. Do you see what I've done? I have now added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points across the entire basin of this. That was necessary to match up the similar points from the upper mesh or the upper hat. So lock up the lower hat or your lower shape, click on the upper shape and unlock it, now I can click point and match. So now that I have enough points in that general area, watch how easy this should be. I should be able to click those 2 points right there, I key, Shift key, grab the same color. I should be able to click this point and this point, I key, Shift key, grab the color. Do the same thing over here, so I shift click those, grab the color right there. Let's marquee this point, click right there, marquee this point, click right there, marquee this point, click over here, marquee this point, and click, and work your way all around the entire image until, look, you can barely see that it's there. And that's almost good enough, except for the fact that I probably need another color point on this mesh right here and right here. So I'm going to take and make that dangerously happen. What I should do is to duplicate this one again. So I should take safe number 2 in the upper mesh and duplicate it, lock it and hide it and save my file, take my U key and do that. First fill up the, look at how the fill's on white. If I click the gradient mesh right here, a big white blotch is going to be there. That ain't going to be cool. So I'm going to take this point and fill it up so that the fill color becomes that red. Now I'm going to click here and here, make more geometry points happen, more vector points within the mesh. Click now to my 2 points that I've added here, I key, Shift key, grab that color. Click these 2 points here, I key, Shift key, grab that color. Now work my way around the whole hat. I'll even marquee that point. I'll marquee these 3 points. I'll now go over here and marquee these 2 points. Go over here and marquee both those 2 points there. And now when I click away from that, you shouldn't be able to tell where that hat is big time. And you don't, except for the 1 point on the other side. So let's see if we can fix that. Let's see if we can take and click both of these points here, both of them. I drop out there and click away, and now look at how beautiful that matched up. There's only one tiny little thing that I'm probably driving myself nuts on, and that's this one here. Let me see if I can click on this one and I drop out just a little bit better. There, that's perfect. Look at how if I show Mario's hat on the left and Mario's hat in the reference, how you cannot tell that I added those. Now I can add the things that I want. This point and these 2 points should actually lighten up just a teeny weeny bit. Let me bring the color palette over here, hold the command key, grab the most right hand one and shove it over so that it lightens that up just ever so pretty on the top of his hat right there. Let's save that by grabbing it and putting it into the swatches palette. Hit Command S to save the file. Now I have that done pretty well. I even have a little brim color on here. I told you that we should fix this side and that side. So before I do that, I know I'm being ridiculous again, but I'm going to go duplicate that safe number 2 for the 3rd time, close and lock it, name this one safe 3 and 4, or name the one that I'm working on safe number 4, and then add the little blend on that hat that turns the corner. So now let's add the smaller detail. So let's click away and click back. Move this just a little bit over farther. I'll move this one up a little bit. Let's take the U key and click to one side. Now click to the other side. Now I should have a stopping line so that I could do the rim color here, here, and here. In fact, let's click here, here, and here and see how horrible this looks when I actually go over and find that color, which is right inside of here. So I key, Shift key, and grab this dark value. Let's see what happened. Let's see how that nice rim color got beautiful. It's actually perfect. I went up a little too high with it. So I'm going to Command Z back, and I'm only going to click the first 2 points. Brian shouldn't have clicked those. I should have gone, this one actually can move up. And then I should go in there and fix that geometry a little bit so that that geometry turns the corner in a relatively nice way. There we go. Let's click this one and this one and this one, which means that's the way the line turns the corner. And just let it go at there. The color will move its way up there, and see if we can do it right. So let's go over here. I realize that I'm taking a little bit too much time with this, but that's okay. Let's now click away from it. Now that let me back off on it a little bit more. Now you can see how I've got the rim working its way up one side. Now let's go over here. Just like I did last time, move this one up a skosh, hit the U key and click on both sides to make a stopping line. A little bit farther away, Mr. Sorio. And then change the geometry. Actually, that one went in perfect. Let's click these 3 points right here, those 3. You see this one? That's why that dark color goes over to the edge. So I'm going to click that one and eyedrop out the color right next to it. Therefore, I won't have, this will be a continuous color. Now I'm going to click this one, and this one, and I'm going to eyedrop out that color so it works its way around the rim. And see how nicely I've worked the way around the rim like that? It gets a little bit lighter on the edge here. Guess what? That means another point. You see how it gets lighter right on the edge of the hat? Let's go see if we can fake that out. Let's see if we can actually add one more line. So I take the U key and I click here. Well, look at how that went in white. I told you it went in white. So I'm going to fill the fill color up with that, then click the U key right here. Then take those 2 points and lighten up on them. So if I take those 2 points and eyedrop out this top color of red, it might be too bright. Let me see what Mario's color was actually. Oh, it's not, I'm way too bright. So let's move a little bit up into that area, like right there. And now you can see how nicely I've got a little color working its way over to the side here. I can actually pull this over just a little bit and just a little bit, just to give myself a little bit more bleed area, just to fake it out a little bit that it's a kind of a nice little rim color here. And that worked out kind of pretty over there. Let's work now this side and do the same thing. Let's take the U key and click right here. Then I'm going to click on both of these. And now let's go grab the light pink area. I should be done with Mario, kind of. Let's click right there and see how bad that looks. A little bit brighter. So let's go a little bit brighter. There we go. Now Mario has a cool looking hat. Now I just need to add this dark line in front. So last thing, click, get very close, take the U key, click extremely close to that. Now if I click right there, then all I have to do is click on all the bottom points and color them dark. So if I grab all the bottom points, as I've said, and you can even shift click by marqueing, using your space bar to move your hand over, grabbing the shift key again, and just marqueing these. Look at how I'm moving my way over. I don't want any other points but those. Now, let us take those, go over to Mario's hat here. Here, I'll kind of get them both on screen. I key, shift key, grab the neato dark that's underneath there, and now Mario has a nice dark rim. Let me turn off the bottom template, and look at how Mario has a pretty decent hat. Could get slightly darker on the rim as it works its way over. So this one I went too bright on. So watch, I'm just going to grab a little color from over here. Look at how neat that kind of moved its way over. And then just a teeny weeny color on its way over here. Grab a little bit darker here. Whoops, here, a little bit darker. And now Mario's hat looks pretty cool right there. And I'm pretty happy with that. It got a little bit too dark in the middle. So if I want to, I can click on the 3 middle points. Just a little bit too dark in the middle. Now it's too light. Now it's just exactly the way I want it. Perfect. There's Mario's hat. I think it came out kind of nice. Of course, I'm not stopping the file because Brian never stops, because Brian thinks that he can always do better. There. There we go. I moved that a little bit brighter in that corner. Command S to save the file, show the template layer, and the next one will show a similar item where 2 meshes melt together, but this time I'll do it on some skin. And that is how you take, let me unlock this to stop this. A couple of things I want to stress. This mesh I made first. This mesh I made second. But if I show you the actual mesh that I made, it was this mesh which did not have many lines in it. It didn't take many lines to create it. Duplicate that mesh, turn it into a mesh that has color points in strategic areas where the same color points relatively exist in the mesh you are trying to match. I don't know if I can say it any better than that. Your two meshes will not match if there are not color points on both meshes in generally the same area. Does that make sense? I hope it does. We'll talk later. Bye.